where that Echo was, but it's not going to matter. Kirk on the flank finds it down onto one. Riot's already down, so it's a technical 1 versus 2. And Bry just swung to his death. Twizzler on the top floor will look to retrieve their teammate, but Kirk can find the timing and clutch it out. An ace for Kirk.
But Spider still gets a kill, and then Xer not ready for him in the corner, but oh my goodness, he gets the kill anyways! He gets the kill, Teddy left alive. He does it yet again for Mirage! He's low on health, especially when the Vulcan canisters are in play, but now Ambi low as well, but he takes the kill anyways! He's still left, but with 15 seconds and not too much intel as to where they are, it's not looking great for him, but he's just got the isolated frag on the aim key, and the last one's left in Freezer. This could be a very easy pick to find if he just looks in the right corners with the shotgun as well. He'll be lethal in the close range. A 1-on-2 for the Gridlock.
Man, that stinger gets you every single time it's played at the very beginning. But welcome back to the XGS Spring Burst. And for the teams tonight, well, it's the semis. Time to go to the grand finals, which happen tomorrow around 5 or 6 p.m. EST, depending on which time the teams agree on. My name is Chaka, and joined next to me is Meat Garage. And for the game that we have on this side of the Twitch planet, we have SBL versus Coastal Gaming. I'm excited for this.
I'm very excited too. I mean, these are two teams that obviously worked their way through here. They both got to where they are by winning out their promotion matches in their respective group stages, and then they managed to both beat their respective teams in the playoff stage. You can see SBL beat Cinta Negra, and then Wanted Goons was slain by Coastal Gaming. So these are teams that I got to watch them play through those promotion games. Really exciting stuff, and I'm really excited to see them come head to head here for the other spot in the grand final.
Yeah, neither one of their games were very close. Coastal Gaming, like you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It was very much a slaying against Wanted Guns, which a lot of people were very surprised about. Yeah. SBL and Cinta Negra, I was very much surprised that that wasn't closer more than anything else, because SBL just kind of like walked all over Cinta Negra, who were oddly passive in that game. But yeah, tonight's gonna be SBL versus Coastal Gaming. It's an interesting one because Coastal Gaming was a team that wasn't really well known before coming into the Spring Burst. They played a collection of T4 leagues, and they haven't really broken up into the T3 section until they came into the qualifiers for Spring Burst, and they've seemingly beat every team that's come into their way on their way to the qualifiers, on their way to that grand finals.
Yeah, that's certainly right. If you didn't know their name before, I'm sure you should know it now, because I mean, they have been sticking around. They have been making a name for themselves, and even if they get beaten out here, I mean, they made it all the way to semifinals. Just really exciting stuff. I'm very happy that I get to cast them again here. And speaking of names, why don't we take a quick look and see who we are playing with Team SBL.
Yeah, you got Poison at the head of everything. Previously on Aerial Rise for God knows how long. Rice, yeah. Nick, Asian, and Spiff. Rice, Asian, and Spiff played in Pro League. Rice for Dark Zero, Asian for Parabellum and Luminosity Gaming, and Spiff has played in a collection of teams too. Astralis got top 4 at the 2023 SI before that roster imploded. Then he went to Parabellum, and then he went to Beast Coast, where again that roster imploded. So now playing with Team SBL, and he's been one of their main players coming into this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of recognizable names, a lot of really strong names, and I expect them to perform really well. Obviously, this isn't to say that Nick also isn't a good performer. He's on this team for a reason. His name, he doesn't have quite the same amount of clout as these other guys do. These guys have been playing around the scene and have been on some pretty notable rosters and everything. But still, there's a reason he's on this team. He's pulling his weight. I got to watch that promotion match that they had. I believe their promotion match was
Or no, Cinta Negra.
No, Cinta Negra was their playoff one. Their promotion one was last week against, struggling to remember it right now. I'll figure it out in a second. But still, I watched it. It was a fun match. They were a really dominant team. They 2-0'd the other team. And I believe also Coastal also 2-0'd their other team in their promotion match as well as their playoff match. So both of these teams have kind of been on the tear for the last couple of weeks. As you can see, we also got the roster for Coastal coming up with Gav, Joddles, Engage, Russ, and Recited. I also got to watch these players. I got to cast these guys. I really enjoyed casting them, and some of them really just had some incredible individual performances. I'm very excited to see what Recited brings to this. I enjoy watching him a lot, as well as Engage.
Yeah, Coastal, again, not a really well-known team. They have a really great attacking run rate as well as a pretty solid defensive one. These numbers are pulled based off of how many attacking rounds you've played in, and it's like how many attacking rounds you win alongside how many attacking rounds you played in, and the flip side is true for the defensive side of things. Overall, pretty solid numbers to be pulling, especially in your first season against top T3 and the mainstay T2 teams that have made waves at those higher levels. Now, your names are echoing amongst others who have a lot of clout at this level. They've just been playing like some really good Siege. You know, I was watching our game against Wanted Goons the other day, and I quite literally was thinking, man, they're out gooning the Goons because they just have such an aggressive playstyle, and that's what catches a lot of teams off guard.
Out gooning the Goons is certainly a good way to put it. I quickly found out Coastal Gaming beat Bros Without Hose in their promotion match in their respective group, and then SBL beat Outlast Gaming in theirs.
Yes.
Forgot those briefly, but two very good games. Some really exciting ones in the quarterfinals for the playoffs as well. But I'm stoked to watch this one. I really hope that this one goes the distance, that we see some overtime on these maps, that we see like a lot of really close stuff. Because let's talk about the maps here. I really like some of these map pips coming out of this.
Yeah, you have like Oregon being banned out first here from Coastal Gaming. That makes a lot of sense. That's actually one of SBL's most preferred and also one of their best maps alongside Labs. Labs is actually, funnily enough, going to be the decider in this matchup, whereas we have Chalet and Clubhouse to start us off for tonight. So those two maps will be played definitely without any pause or without a map having to be won. Just because they're the first two maps, you have to get through them before you can even get to a decider to break the deadlock. But Chalet is an interesting one because Chalet is not an unknown map to SBL, but of course we've seen Coastal Gaming, I almost called them Wanted Goons just because of how they play it, but like they literally played this map against Wanted Goons, and quite literally the main thing that I noticed, and they also played this game against Valkyrie, another aggressive team just like Wanted Goons, and they quite literally out-aggressed Wanted Goons on that map. They had some pretty unique setups that threw Wanted Goons off, and they tried everything to work around the setups from Coastal Gaming, especially on their defenses, and they seem just so confused on how to deal with that. I don't think that's going to be the same thing for SBL. They might have VOD reviewed them, they might have realized what type of setups they're doing, and so they may have some workarounds around that, so maybe it'll be a bit different this time.
Yeah, I mean, I got to watch them play Coastal back in the promotion match because they played it then. And then I talked to Engage. I got to do a little interview with him afterwards and just asked him about how squirrely and hard to pin down they were, because they play such an aggressive defense on Chalet. They are moving around, spawn peeking everything, running out everything, really hard to pin down. And yeah, you're right, SBL is going to have to be kind of matching that intensity, matching that speed or style, or they have to have a way to counter if they are going to take down Coastal here. But both teams have played Club as well in their quarterfinal matches. So this going to Club, we've seen them win it out in the quarterfinals. Not a surprising pick for these guys. Excited to see kind of how it goes there, because I think it should be pretty even on Clubhouse for sure. But yeah, very excited to see if we can get Nighthaven Labs, because we don't know a whole lot about Coastal on Nighthaven Labs, but we do know that SBL did win it out in their promotion match against Outlast, and they won it 7-3, so it was a pretty dominant match from them on Nighthaven.
Yeah. Thing is that Coastal have not played Labs a single time alongside other maps. They've mainly played Skyscraper, Clubhouse, and Chalet, maps like Consulate, Cafe, Labs, all of those, Oregon, Bank, and Border. Not a single time that they played it in a spring burst. Of course, they've mainly been playing best of one, so of course the map pool isn't going to be the biggest. And compared to SBL played one more map than Coastal Gaming, and that map was Labs against Outlast. So yeah, they have a little bit more practice on it. Of course, they are a more established teams, and teams that tend to just be a little bit more well established, they have a lot more experience on the team, tend to have better times on a map like Labs compared to less experienced team like Coastal Gaming. But starting us off with the ban phase, we have Brava and Ying going out first, and I'm not too surprised by this.
No, I mean, the Brava ban, I think SBL must have done some homework, seen that Coastal likes to bring a lot of cameras, obviously, for a map like Chalet, especially with how much you're moving around on Chalet. It can be better to take control of those cameras rather than just shoot them, and that way you can use the defender cameras as flank watch. So maybe that's why they're banning out the Brava, just to prevent that sort of play from happening. Keep cameras alive, though. Cameras are not going to be entirely alive, as Valk cams, those black guys, are not going to be able to be brought. Neither are Kiba barriers. Nothing surprising about seeing either a Valkyrie or an Azami ban, two of the most banned defenders. But the Ying obviously has to come out. I want to see a match with Ying in it, just because I feel like I have been in a desert, and Ying is the only thing that can quench my thirst right now, and I need it.
No, I'm not actually. The thing is that, like, you just have to have, like, a team that's used to playing with her, or not with her, but, like, against her, and most teams just aren't. It's like that with the Dokkaebi as well. Dokkaebi is just kind of like, you either don't really mind the Dokkaebi that much, or you find her very annoying, and for both the teams tonight, they don't really find her that annoying. Brava is a little bit different, especially because on a map like Chalet, it tends to be a little bit more attacker siding, taking away a lot of the information from the defenders, makes that, well, extremely so, forcing you to be a little bit more aggressive and, like, take a little bit more chances, and SBL don't want to do that. But they are going to run a Fenrir this time around. A great counter to the Fenrir is that Brava, so not having her in this very first round, alongside maybe even a Twitch, too, it's going to make dealing with these Fenrir mines just a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and one of the things you're going to see is this hold up in Library. They already have Rice on that Aruni. He's tucked back in that really tough to get rid of corner of Library, but they also have a one reinforced wall and then a mirror window placed up there, while Nick, who's on Warden, is kind of on that mezzanine balcony area, and he's just going to be causing a lot of trouble. He has a bulletproof shield. There's Jaeger ADSs all around to prevent the hop-in from Library hallway window. There's a lot of stuff dedicated to this upper floor hold here just to make it so they can keep control of that hatch. They can apply pressure from that hatch and drop at any point if the attackers decide to actually push into site, which is the floor below.
Yeah, the thing is that they also see the support system and just how well SBL are set up. Spiff was originally being supportive over by Piano's side, but Coastal Gaming want to go for a Solarium overclear so they can get full control of Piano, disable a lot of that support, hit the Ivy stairs, and then, like, hit the rest of this top floor. It is a decent enough strategy, but this type of strategy just takes a lot of time compared to just going for a Library direct and just taking these initial entry engagements over by that west side of the map.
Ronan is the first one to really be in the map for Coastal Gaming here on attack. He's got a drone leading him in, but right now he's just looking to see if he can't find anyone else moving around through some of these rotate holes he's spotted. He's right on the cusp of Library hallway. He just has to peek around and he can get there, but they don't know if it's clear or not. As you can see, Coastal Game or Team SBL still kind of all over the map. Asian's all the way downstairs in the basement, but he's at that staircase, so he can be anywhere he needs to. On the first floor, second floor, remain in the basement. They have to pin these guys down, and currently they're just starting to push him. We're going to see Runnin start to contest onto that main staircase over there. There's two people there holding, but it's not going to be that engagement that wins out first. It's first going to be Rice finding one under Recited. That's the floor is taken out. The entire kill feed's going to go the way of SBL, aside from Running finding one, but now it's down to a 4v2. 45 seconds remain in the match, and it's going to be up to Russ and Joddles to make something happen here.
2v4, full map control in your favor. SBL have opted to play site. They have enough, well, they just have a lot of reasons to do that. Time is low. You don't want to keep fighting for the top floor, and then you can just keep playing around a lot of your utility. You still have some of these Fenrir mines set up around the map too. That can cause a lot of issues here for Coastal Gaming. But time is ticking low. You only have 20 seconds left if you're Coastal.
They're going to have to push in. It's going to be Russ to try and push into Bar. Meanwhile, Joddles is going to maybe make this drop here from the hatch, but they know he's up there. They have him spotted out. They're going to just annihilate him if he tries to drop. Russ goes down. He's quickly followed by his other teammate, and a pretty easy round there for Team SBL.
It's a pretty easy round there from SBL, like you mentioned, and really just not a lot going on that attack for Coastal Gaming. They tried to go for that Solarium overclear so they can have an easier time contesting for Mezzanine and Ivy, and then they also had like some sort of back push going on to Library side. But SBL were very much prepared for either a Library direct take or even just Solarium over clear, where they had Fenrir Mines set up. They have like a lot of these long angles, a player playing on the Ivy Stairs too. So just did a very good job of denying the initial entry for Coastal Gaming and not allowing them to get too far into the setup. And one thing also that Coastal Gaming do like to do is just like take their individual ones, and they didn't allow them to do that. SBL are very much prepped in taking one-on-one gunfights and winning them respectfully.
Can pretty much see a really quick sort of answer to the style of roam heavy, very hard to pin down play SBL is bringing. Coastal Gaming is now bringing 2 flank watch operators in both Nomad and Gridlock just to shut that stuff down. Just to make sure those staircases can't be used as easily if you're a defender. They want to keep SBL in their place, because if they can do that, they can take map control, be safe about it. They can then start applying like vertical pressure onto site. Well, I guess not on this one, since this site is 2nd floor. They would have to go underneath, which could have happened. You just don't see it as often. But still, I do like the roam denial being brought out with these 2 flank watch operators.
Yeah, it's going to stop a lot of aggression. On the flip side, you have plenty of information as well from SBL, again, running the Fenrir for the 2nd round in a row. Also having Poison play the Maestro. Whenever I watch the VOD of SBL and Chalet, Poison does like to play that Maestro. Usually he plays it on an office bedroom set up. But that's not also too uncommon to see. Rice getting aggressive, finding the very first pick onto running, and that's your butt gone.
Yeah, if you wanted to play vertical and go below, you were pretty much going to have to use Buck, but now they don't have it, and neither do they have their hard breach. Engage taken out on the ace. Luckily, Joddles is packing a lot of utility as Capitao. He's got the fire bolts, the smoke bolts, as well as 2 secondary hard breach can openers in his pocket. So as long as he's alive, Coastal Gaming can still work a lot of these angles, and it gets a little bit better for them as Rice goes down. Recited finding 1 onto Rice. They still need map control, but they got plenty of time to take it, and they still have a decent amount of utility. Like I said, both of those flank watch guys are up. A lot of throwables with 2 grenades and 3 flashbangs. Lots of stuff to work here as long as they just play really connected as a team. They don't make too many errant movements and get caught out. But like I said, Team SBL, hard to pin down. They can easily take advantage, especially since they do have man advantage still.
Look at the drones all the way up in 1st floor, and there's already a player sneaking into sight, a player on the top floor too, to deal with some of these top floor players and deal with any rotations that may be accessible throughout the map. But they are going to just try and clear the top floor a little bit, deal with a lot of these vertical angles that can deny them from getting the plant down. The first player he runs into is Spiff, unfortunately, who's been on fire all season, and he's also going to be on fire in this game. 4-0, 2 kills on the trot, 50 seconds left, and now 1 player alive in Jokers.
Poison manages to finish things up, but yeah, another match that SBL just looked like they were in control the whole time, and this kind of fits what I had seen when I watched both of these teams play, both in quarterfinals, but also when I was watching them play for the promotion matches. It's a lot of very defensive-sided stuff, as is the entire meta of the game right now. These teams especially are so aggressive on defense that it's really difficult for the attackers to ever find a good run to get momentum going. You know, you can maybe get 1 or 2 rounds on attack, but to take control of an attacking half just doesn't seem possible when the defenders are this hard to pin down.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Chalet. It's a very aggressive map. If you can't, like, it's like Border. If you can't, like, win your ones on your initial entries, you're going to have a harder time trying to battle for the rest of map control, because then you're now, like, in a 5v3 or a 5v2 or something like that, and you have to battle from 2 men down against such an aggressive setup that's prepared for the exact take that you're going for. Now, Team SBL are going to go down into the basement site, and it seems like that they mainly want to try and roam. You have the Legion with the Goon Mines, Smoke on site too for Poison, Wamai, and Kaid as well to deal with the onslaught, and Coastal Gaming might just go for a direct take as indicated by their lineup.
Yeah, the nice thing about this site is that wall that just leads directly outside, that snowmobile garage wall. You can just open it up, go straight in. You don't even have to worry about these roamers as much, and with how much of a pain these roamers are being, we might just see that. And I would like to see it. I would like to see it a lot if we saw Recited get to use that blitz, but they're not going immediately for a rush. They're at least going to get things open and start doing kind of a standard pressuring on all sides of the map, but they still might explode on the site once they find an opening. Recited waiting outside here. He's kind of by that wine cellar area. He could push in, but there is a defender lurking back to the left, in this little area, and it's poison. He's on smoke. He's got the Mossberg shotgun. He can shut down even a blitz. He can shut down really quick because that gun just hits so hard. They're going in. Blitz flashes. It's not going to work out for poison, though. He's going to be shut down. Running is just going to keep the momentum going. He's pushing straight through this basement hallway. Going to start looking into sight. He's going to potentially cast a rotate over, but it's not going to work out. Rice finds a C4 pick. Nick is answering back. Team SBL taking back control pretty quickly. They still have vertical control too, with Spiff up there, but he is going to retreat downstairs. Man advantage for them. The rush didn't really work out, but Russ is still in sight getting the plant. He's getting it behind this part of Wine Cellar where the defenders just can't really stop it. He is going to get it down, so that's all 3 guns for the attackers up. At this point now, it's just a matter, can the Team SBL clear it out? Flash is going off. Rice finds 1 pick. He's going to keep making this harder and harder for Coastal Gaming, but still, with plant down, Russ can make big things happen. It's going to all be taken away for Coastal Gaming. They don't manage to stick it out. SBL get another pretty easy looking defuse there, despite the fact that they lost site control. The retake was clean from them.
Yeah, the response there from SBL is almost immediate, and that's the painful thing about like going in for like rushes, is that you're not really like prepared, or you probably should be actually at that point, for any retakes that might come in from defense. Like SBL mainly retook from blue, and they also retook from like the main stairs and snowmobile garage, and it's also like the main reason why you bring a hard breach on that site in particular, just to open up more lines of sight and put more phantom pressure. Because if you don't breach open the snowmobile wall, but you make a lot of noise like elsewhere, they're gonna know that you're going for a Wine Cellar execute or a Wine Direct rush, and it's not the first time Coastal has done that. So SBL have done their homework. They're prepared for things like that. And it's unfortunate that Poison wasn't prepared at the beginning of that round, but still, they know exactly what they're going to do, whether it's with a VOD review or not, because simply put, Coastal Gaming didn't really do enough to drag their attentions elsewhere.
Yeah, Coastal Gaming sacrificed a lot in terms of just getting access to the site, and what they didn't have was they didn't have any area to cover plant from. They didn't have any sort of power positions. They didn't have up above on that hatch in the dining room that you often see teams kind of watch the diffuser from. So it just didn't work out for them. Hopefully we see it go a little bit better. They are still planning on curbing that roam. We're seeing Russ bringing out the Jackal just because of how much of a nuisance it can be. No flank watch operators though, so Team SBL can still roam around quite a bit. It's all going to come down to how is this Jackal going to be utilized? How good of a pinch is he going to be able to create with these other attackers?
You also have Zofia as well. Actually, she's pushing on the Solarium side alongside Habana. So again, there's this Solarium over clear that SBL ready to meet head on. A drone detecting the Oryx's position, but they don't know about the Jackal just behind the plants, and that could be a real big issue. Spiff, who's 5-0, is not going to make a mistake, especially if somebody just walks right in front of him and gives him a golden opportunity.
Spiff getting that. He's going to potentially get a second one, and he does. I don't know what Engage was thinking there with the rappel in like that after your teammate just died. I mean, I know you want to get the refrag, but you can't just rappel into a site when you know a defender's there. You're going to be so vulnerable. Really unfortunate way to start things off, but Coastal Gaming just don't really look like they have a plan here on attack. They're just kind of poking all these little holes, but never going deep enough to actually make a difference. Nick will finally be shut down, so that is an answer back coming from Joddles. They're going to make it a little bit closer. Still Team SBL leading 1 in terms of man count, and Rice did take a lot of damage on one of his rotates. He was caught out. He lost most of his health. He has about 25% of it left, so they can shut him down pretty quickly, but still, they're just not looking as organized as you need an attack to be, especially when you're bringing a Jackal. You know, you should be finding out these loose defenders and pinching them off, being really coordinated, using your utility like that, not just rushing in and dying.
Another player is found too from Spiff, who gets a triple kill in a round, swings the fluke window, and dies almost immediately. And Russ still has all 3 of his Inox scanners. If you're going to do a Solarium overclear, like you said, I felt like the Jackal could have been grouped over there to help run in on that initial entry. Instead, he's put on a different side of the map. Now, finally, 1 eye-track scanner is used, and that might just be, it looks like it's on the Oryx on site, so you know that one player is on site, the other player is down in basement. Full top floor control is now in your favor. But, like, what can you really do with it? You don't have any soft breach. You don't really have a lot of utility apart from the smoke grenades. And even if you do use the smoke grenades to block off these lines of sight and go for a site execute, SBL will just rush you.
And Poison still has a C4 in pocket, so that can make it difficult. You can just lob it straight into the smoke. Getting more difficult as Russ is shut down. Asian gets a pick. It's all going to be on the Jottle, but with pretty much 0 time, he's just going to give himself over to Asian. Right now, SBL are just kind of walking away with it.
Yeah, again, just doing a very good job of just stopping the initial entry there from Coastal Gaming. That time, again, they wanted to do a Solarium overclear over into Bar Games, and Coastal Gaming just seemed to not really understand how well SBL are doing on the teamwork side of things. They're always having people like close together. They can trade out really effectively. They're not really doing many things isolated unless they feel like they can get away with it. And so far they have. Spiff is now 8-1. The highest rated player on Coastal Gaming are 3 players who are 2-4, and Jottles has an assist. So it's really not the best start on the attacking half of Chalet, a map that's usually pretty attacker-sided if, like, you don't take into account the whole SI 2024 defensive-sided crap that happened with this map in particular, and also Border, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, typically more attacker-sided map in earlier days, but right now really looking defender-sided. And when I watched Coastal play, their attacks were a little rough. When they played in the promotion match, the match ended up going 8-6. Coastal won it, but it wasn't as close, or it wasn't as easy as I think they would have liked it to be, because they struggle on their attack. So I have faith that even if they get pretty walloped here on their attacking half, their defense is pretty good. We'll see how good Team SBL's attack is. If Team SBL are going to be more coordinated, which they very well could be given the caliber of some of these players, then I think it'll be an easy win for them. But I'm very excited to see what SBL brings against Coastal. Coastal's not going to make it easy on defense.
Yeah, but 5-1 or 6-0 half is not really...
It's not good.
It's not really the best. No, at all. Like, and SBL are a pretty solid attacking team, too. Like, they have like really good executes, especially when Poison is at the head of things, calling executes as is. And also Poison has been like bringing more entry operators like Zoph. Well, maybe not entry, because Zoph is like very slow now, being a 3 armored and 1 speed. Ubisoft just making the game unfun. I'm joking. But anyways, it's gonna be top 4 focus here. Of course, SBL was set up in the general area where Coastal Gaming are surrounding themselves in. But they're taking a little bit of time, and they also just give up the first pick. Immediately traded, though, something that we haven't seen in a little bit from Coastal is the trade. So happy that they're able to pounce on that one at least.
Yeah, Rice with the big pick. Unfortunately, he shuts out Russ, and that's one of your 2 flank watch. The other one recited just dying to Spiff, who just can't seem to ever truly be stopped. That's both of your flank watches gone. Luckily, some of those track singers did get out, but you would have really liked to see those guys coming and sticking around for longer, because right now what is killing them is that run out game, is this aggressive roam game. Rice is shut down, so that's one of those roamers on Solus who has a lot of information and who can be really squirrely, but still, Spiff is on the roam on Castle. He doesn't have any obligations to sight. His castle barricades are up. He can kind of just do whatever and die off site. Things are getting even harder as Engage goes down. Still 0-5. He's really not finding anything working here, and it is just Team SBL all over.
Yeah, seems like the Coastal Gaming attack has just been kind of like not necessarily all over the place, but they just can't even get inside of the map. And that's the one thing that I talked about from the very beginning, ever since SBL have won their first game. They've just been very good at stopping them from entering the map and just pushing forward with what they want to do in terms of gaining control. Running is now the last player alive, and you have not only the players off of site, but you have to run into Fenrir Mines, Legions potentially on this second floor, and also with Smoke of Poison, who's playing on the Solarium stairs, but could rotate to site at any time. So what do? You just sit on a roof. Take an unofficial timeout.
Yep. I think it's a smart move. I mean, at this point, Coastal Gaming, realistically, it's impossible for them to win this round. The best they can do is look to see if they can't win 1. Get at least 1 on your attacking half. It'd be a good way, at least better way, to finish out this half and go into the favored side, but looking pretty dire for them right now.
It's really not the best, and not done a very good job at just like stopping the aggression from SBL that just have gotten like bolder each and every round. Every time Coastal Gaming want to put pressure somewhere, SBL are ready to like swing and delete that pressure almost immediately. Yeah, it's just not been the best of attacking halves from Coastal. 5-0, potentially maybe even a 6-0, and they don't really even take the timeout, despite having that bit of a pause that Running had at the later stages of the game. This is not really in your plans when you attack Shelly neither. Going 5-0 down on the attack. Now, I mean, it's whatever, but just gotta look forward to future. The future being basement site here from SBL.
Gonna see if they can't make it work this time. Not gonna be bringing out a blitz. They're not going for any sort of rush. But we are seeing more of that roam clear stuff. No longer are they bringing the Nomad and Gridlock for flank watch, but Dokubi, Jackal. Can we see a better usage of these kind of pinch operators than we saw last time when Jackal was brought and not really used all that much? Spiff gonna start things off with a spawn peek. We've been seeing so much of this. He's going to have one, but he's not going to be able to get it running. Somehow wins that out. I thought Spiff had it lined up, but I guess not. Great way to open things out. I think that's the second opening hit Coastal's gotten. The first one they got was against Poison on Smoke on that third round, pushing here when they were trying to do that blitz rush. But now there's no immediate answer back. This is a good way for Coastal Gaming to start things off, and they can start to do that information game, do that pinch. They have man advantage. They can play the trade game a little bit more as long as they just keep their bases covered. They're not, you know, keep it, or they have to watch their flank essentially. If they don't, they can get punished really easily here.
And now Nick has put himself in a corner. If he rotates in front of that window, he does. Running or Joddles is not able to capitalize off of that, but you can't even really see his head. And he kills it just with the Gone 6 anyways. So you waste a shot on that. That's perfectly fine because there's really not a lot of things here that you need to get with with the Gone 6 apart from maybe the shield that exists on site. So now the rest of SBL, they can't just safely sit on site and wait for the attack to set up against them. They're gonna have to get aggressive and hope that they can out-aggress them and actually win their gunfights.
Like in what I'm seeing, Coastal, this is how you do it. Poison, though, trying to do what you were just talking about, out-aggress, maybe get a pick before he retreats back to site. Not going to find anything, though. HP is starting to fall for Russ and for Recited. That's kind of the one silver lining here if you're rooting for Team SBL, is that if they can keep doing these little paper cuts, you can maybe get a death by 1,000 cuts for Coastal, but it's just not working out right now. Coastal is taking their time. They're being a bit slower, a bit more methodical, using that Inox scanner from Jackal, pinch things out. Russ still contesting all the way from Big Garage, just kind of keep pressure on all these different sides of the site, preventing the defenders from really managing to leave site and try and do a flank somewhere. And I like that.
Yep, Rice is prepping, or not Rice, sorry, Asian is prepping to go up the blue stairs, but get shut down almost immediately. So yeah, like you said, Coastal doing a great job of shutting down the aggression. They haven't really opened up any of the hard walls. This was their issue last time in the basement that allowed SBL to do such a good cleanup, but they could be converging around not only the vertical, but also around the other areas of the map. Because there's only 3 people alive, you have more people in your favor, you can take this map control. But then Asian finds a kill onto the blue stairs push. This makes it infinitely harder to pressure site.
It's going to be more difficult, and this is where things can get scary for Coastal. Time is of the essence right now. Joddles has to make something work here, and he can't. He actually does manage to trade it out. Poison, though, going to even things out. 2v2 all of a sudden. How is Team SBL going to claw this back? It's going to be up to Run in an engage for Coastal to make this happen, but Rice is just tucked far away. He has Planter in his sights, shuts him down. What looked like it should have been an easy round for Coastal is just going to get completely obliterated, and Team SBL take it from a round that they really shouldn't have had.
That's what I said. You just have to get aggressive and try and take gunfights. In that sense, Asian does exactly that. He goes and plays around the blue stairs area, around tarps, and pushes up the stairs. Not only finds 1 kill, but also finds the 2nd kill onto the 2nd player. Also, the player who refragged him stepped in a Legion of Mine too, so he had to take the time to pull that out of his foot, which wastes even more time for Coastal Gaming, who just seemed like they really had a lack of options going into the execution. They couldn't really just walk inside. They had to try and take separate control of different areas. They hadn't gotten the snowball breach open until the very end of it when they were trying to converge onto the connector player. And it's just SBL, they get punished for doing aggressive plays early on, but then Coastal just get punished for taking too much time.
All right, side swap happening. Going to reset the momentum a little bit. Team SBL have to kind of change up how they're playing. They no longer can just be all over the place and just kind of, running around. They have to be a bit more structured since they are on attack. That's what Coastal Gaming has to hope for here, is that the momentum and that the mental for Team SBL is going to have to cool off a little bit, and they aren't going to be on such a hot streak, because if they carry any of that momentum over, they can just walk through and take this an easy 7-0 right now. But Coastal are on defense. I talked about how strong these guys can be on defense because they play that same style of really hard to pin down, very aggressive roam play.
They're doing the full horizontal, or what the heck is it called? Yeah, horizontal hold instead of playing up top on vertical. They reinforce the library hatch too, and not only the library hatch near the library corner, but they have also reinforced the small box corner inside, right next to library, and they've also high-eated that. Now, the thing is that if SBL had been prepared for their attacks, they should be prepared for this defensive setup where it seems like they kind of are, but they are stalling. They haven't gotten anywhere inside the map. It's been a minute. So, yeah, phone calls go through, but nobody's in yet.
Though it is going to be Rice to find the first pick under Recited. That's a good opening pick if you're trying to make your attack and half work. They also brought a Finka, which I like, because Poison is a 3-speed. He's on low health, but he's going to be brought up back to half. Unfortunately, though, one of their roam clear operators in Dokubi is going to be shut down by Coastal Gaming. Picks are going to keep going the way of Coastal Gaming as they get another one. That's Asian taken out too. So it's going to be a 3v4, which isn't impossible here. They still have a ton of utility, but it's going to be a lot more difficult now that Rice is gone. Poison being alive is big, though. He has all those bolts in his pockets. He's got those can openers. He can make a lot happen, but it's going to have to be a lot because they have to face down four defenders right now, including 1 C4, 3 of them full health. Engage will be shut down quickly, but the other ones are still going to be a big worry, especially that Warden. Even if you put down those smoke bolts, he just turns his glasses on if he remembers to do that. Sometimes players forget. But if he turns them on, it's just an easy pick for him.
I also have no way of like opening up the hatch and dealing with the hatches neither on the second floor too. So going for a direct take, trying to make vertical yourself is kind of like a big no-no. Poison tries to jump into game's window, dies almost immediately because somebody is for sure watching that. The Coastal are just very much on hand to win their very first round in the game, and they do just that.
Well, they'll need 5 more of those if they want to take this all the way to overtime and have a chance of winning it. But that is how you start it, and that's exactly what we've been saying. It's switched to defense. Coastal can now play that exact same style that SBL was bringing. Really hard to pin down, moving all over the place, very aggressive, and it's hard to counter right now, especially without a Ying, without someone who can just force the envelope and say, I'm going to flash all of sight, I'm going to completely deny all sight lines and just go in and push for this plant. Without that Ying present, it can be really difficult to get anywhere close to sight just because these roamers are just going to stab you in the back the second you try and get a plant down.
Yeah, but they have to find 5 more, and again, I mean, we mentioned it, but SBL tends to just be like a more organized team, especially on their attacks. That defense is actually really impressive because, again, Coastal have ran that before, and teams just don't really know how to get around it because it's not exactly a common defense to run. That's probably like one of the first times I've actually seen somebody run like a fully horizontal defense, especially around the bar game site, because you usually just try and hold the top floor with your life, and you don't really extend into much of the horizontal play unless you're just planning to play inside of dining, and you have like long lines of sight looking at the bottom of fireplace stairs or at the bottom of mezzanine. But in this round, SBL are going to go for a library over clear. Are Coastal Gaming prepared for that? Are they going to be aggressive and try and challenge the entry engagements? Well, it doesn't seem like it. They're just going to be playing a little bit more passive forwards, or not really passive because Recited's like swinging the big window, but they are going to be playing closer to the bedroom and piano areas.
Nick, still all the way out in this backyard section, pretty late in spawn. I don't think Recited expected that at all for someone to still be hanging out all the way over there. He was swinging and kind of looking a bit more straight down to see if anyone was kind of stacking up or had a drone out and he could catch him off guard. But he gets punished a little bit. Not too much HP gone. He's still perfectly okay. And you wanted him perfectly okay because he's bringing that new utility as Tuber out. He's got those canisters. He's got a C4. And he can really help Russ, who's on Bandit, keep those walls closed, make it easier for the Bandit tricking to happen. And that very well we might see. We're going to see Poison getting ready to put an exothermic charge. Luckily, all there is there's a mute jammer here, so the bandit down on the first floor. That wall will get open on the second floor. This is how Team SBL is going to start with this clear. Get things open up, apply pressure into office, maybe clear out the roamers. It's exactly what they're doing. And once they've got that, once they've got vertical control, they can really put some pressure onto the defenders still holding onto the site.
Now it's time to open up the dining wall as well so that you can put more pressure onto the site. You didn't fully clear the top floor, so going for site directly even after opening up the dining wall is a big issue. But it's still fine. If you can keep these second floor players away from the office area just in general, I think SBL are in a good spot, and they are in a good spot because Fifth finds the first kill onto Engage.
Good opening pick from him, and in general, I'm liking what SBL are doing. This is a really methodical push. They are not over-aggressing at all. Time is starting to run out, so they're going to have to make something happen. But I trust what Poison's doing. He's one of those IGLs who's been around the scene for so long, especially in that tier 2 scene, and he is one of the most acclaimed IGLs there. You know, everyone talks about just how good he is at controlling everything and calculating everything and then making sure they have their ducks in a row before they finally start to execute. But it's going to have to start, and that's an amazing way for it to get going. Asian with another pick that running should have been winning there, but Asian gets it. He is going to flash himself, so he's going to have to slow down a second there, but he somehow gets a second there on the round for him. It's all going the way of SBL. Russ answers back onto Nick. Joddles across the map, finds Rice, but Poison making it difficult. It's a 2v1, and the pinch is there. Asian's good for 3 that round. It should have been a bit closer than that, but we're going to see a 7-1 as SBL just look utterly dominant here on Chalet.
And it's a good read from SBL at the end. They recognized that they couldn't get the wall open in dining just because of the bandit charges. They didn't have any frag grenades nor any EMP impacts. So what do? They go for a full top floor clear, and Coastal Gaming, as they have been all game, struggle to win their gunfights. That was the biggest issue that I had, especially for them, and also with them on their attacks. Just it seems like they were trying to like just not do too much, but like just do little and just try and like take these direct gunfights with SBL that weren't working because you're not winning your gunfights. And so the score is going to reflect that game wholeheartedly, as well as the stat lines for this game too, because SBL completely dominated them in the KDR department.
Yeah, I think SBL just looked a lot more structured. And even though they were pretty chaotic on their defensive side, moving around a lot, I think it was a structured chaos, and that was very much reflected in that attacking round we saw them win it out on. They were very methodical as a team, and that's just not something that was reciprocated by Coastal Gaming. And part of the reason, I think maybe most of the reason why Coastal Gaming lost it out. So they're going to have to really change up, I think, how they're playing. Luckily, they are going to Clubhouse, which is a map that is much more conducive to a structured style of play. So it might be easier for them kind of fit in and fix this issue, but really tough to say that, you know, Coastal looks like they're going to take it next map, especially just how strong SBL are looking right now.
Yeah, and also we're going on to SBL's map pick.
Yep.
Clubhouse.
Yep.
They really like Clubhouse. the XGS semi-final of 2, where we have SBL versus Coastal Gaming. On Coastal Gaming's map pick, they lost Chalet 7-1, and now SBL are going to cook up going into Clubhouse, their very own map pick. Big Garage.
Yeah, I mean, the one upside if you're rooting for Coastal is that Coastal gets to choose what side they're starting on, but aside from that, it looks like SBL might just have what it takes to make this a short 2-0. I really hope we get to see a bit more competition out of Coastal because, like I said, I liked watching them in the last couple weeks. I've liked what I've seen from them, and I don't want this to be so one-sided. But, you know, if SBL's playing with the caliber that we saw and they keep that up, it's not up to what I want or what I want to see. SBL might just take it.
Yeah, and Clubhouse tends to favor teams with a little bit of more structure to their gameplay. The one thing that we talked about a lot on Chalet was not only just the denial of entries that SBL did fantastically well because they got more entry picks, a lot more entry picks than Coastal Gaming did, but also it was about their structure as a team. And also when you have players like Poison on your team who can just shot call just about anything, he has a big brain. For a reason. He's at the head of almost all of the top T2 teams for a reason, and it's because he can call things like that in a blink of an eye and be almost on point with it every single time.
Yeah, it just took them one round on attack to kind of clue into what they need to change, how do they need to adapt in order to beat Coastal Gaming, and it was a pretty easy win for them. So, you said it, Poison's got a big brain. You know, he's got a 5-head, a 6-head even, like packing a lot of juice in that thing, and he's going to be able to use it here. He's definitely going to have some good strats come out. Like you were saying, more structured map. It's probably going to be a bit slower, maybe a little bit less aggressive than what we were watching over on Chalet, and I wonder if that's going to affect the bans we see at all. If we're going to see something slightly different. We'll see.
Yeah, Coastal's going to start us off with the bans. Last time it was not Ying, it was Brava. No, it was it was Bravo and Ying. For some reason, I'm thinking back to the Project Harmony game where Ying was not been a single time. She was also not really played a single time on any of the attacks, especially it was border too, so that was quite surprising. But it was Brava, Ying, Zami, and Valk last map. This time it's going to be Ying, same as last map. Dokkaebi, just a little bit different though.
Yep, just looking to maybe make it a bit more difficult on attack to clear those rooms. Dokkaebi is kind of favored for these structured pushes because, you know, you set up 2 people on one side of the map, 3 people on the other side. Dokkaebi sends out the calls that affects all the defenders all over the map. It allows you to do those structured pinches and everything. So that being taken out right away, not too surprising. Tubarao, whenever you see him banned, once again, not too surprising either, just because new operator makes hatches a little bit more difficult, as well as exterior walls on this map. There are some really important exterior walls that they like to keep. Cade getting banned. Cade's a favorite here, but makes it really hard if you're trying to attack and trying to get that CCTV wall open, the garage walls open, even jacuzzi wall. Cade just makes it a nightmare. And so no, kind of not super surprising to see him being banned and not wanting to fight against a Cade.
Yeah, you can also, with Kaid, it's also very possible to just deny the hatches, especially if you hide the Kaid and then the attack is like, well, we don't see a Kaid, so let's not bring like a Thatcher or like EMP impacts in this round with an IQ, for example. It can make getting the Thatcher quite literally impossible. Usually, if you ban out a crowd, there's no need to ban out a Kaid because usually, especially at SI, people who are not teams are usually banning out one or the other just because you don't have to deal with that combo. Doing your attacks a lot easier, just bringing EP or throw it at a crate charge or throw it at a bandit charge, and then you can finally get the wall open with the thermite or ace, since they have the fastest hard breaching times in the game, with thermite being the fastest. But very first round, Coastal's gonna go down into basement, and they also just have a far out roam, the Oryx and also the Azami too, to aid them on this hold inside of garage.
Yeah, I mean, Russ is also all the way over by the side entrance, spraying through these soft walls. They're still kind of keeping up that style of defense where they're all over the place. Recited going to hold up in garage rafters. He's got some of those keeper barriers now to make it a bit easier. And even if he's not up in those rafters, we're seeing him run through that CCTV area. Just the presence of those keeper barriers alone is going to make the defense or the attackers have to pause and kind of make something happen. But that is not how you want things to go. Recited getting shut down right away. A lot of keeper barriers left to generate in his pocket, but not get used at all because he's dead. Really unfortunate, and a great start for Team SBL.
Yeah, that's one of your roamers dead too. And the one thing that I wanted to point out is that you said that like Coastal Gaming were just all over the place, defending all over the map. Doing this kind of like puts a lot of pressure onto the defense or onto the attack to fully clear the map, especially if you are like very aggressive spawn picking in the early round, as we saw Russ did. And so they are kind of threatening. They did waste about a minute of time, but then you lose the Azami, somebody who could play and fortify this basement flooring when you do go back to site and you do fully anchor on the map. And really, their whole setup was revolving around this room. If you look at their lineup too, you have no smoke, you have no Goyos, nothing to waste time in a late round apart from possibly the Fenrir. So they kind of let themselves up in a deeper spot, or in a very troubling spot, coming into the later stages of this round just by the operator lineup.
Yeah, it's really just gonna come down to Coastal's ability to bunker up and take fights when they should. You know, they have to have that instinct of, this is when I swing, I can then catch them off guard. But as you talked about at the end of the last map, Coastal really struggled with winning those gunfights when they needed to, and it could really punish them here, that they are really lacking in terms of denial, they are lacking in terms of positioning and map control, and it's just going to come down to, they have to hope SBL take a lot of time, which SBL are not moving fast right now, but they still have 45 seconds-ish to make things happen. So SBL has to waste more time, and Coastal is going to have to swing at the right moments, but that's not a right moment to swing. Spiff starts things off, he gets a kill for himself, shutting down Engage. It's a 5v3. 30 seconds to go. It's going to be up to these remaining 3 defenders. If they want to make anything happen, they're going to have to aggress at the right times, clutch it out. But it's going to be a tough fight for them because everyone from Team SBL is pushing from these different angles. And really see if Russ can't find something here. Asian, though, going to get shut down by Run, and Russ does find something, but he's immediately traded out by Nick. Plant's still going down. Poison gets it down. It's now 3 guns versus 2, but Runnin and Joddles find the picks they need. It's all going to be up to Rice. He has top 4 control. He has the he is Buck, so he can continuously open up new angles, but Runnin is on this Oryx. He can hop up. Does Rice know this? This could be a completely unexpected flank here from Runnin that's also going to save him some time. They need to work fast, though, and that's not helpful. Rice shutting down Runnin. Joddles is going to have to start faking it and then win out this gunfight. He's hitting it. He's not looking to fake. Rice gets the pick, shuts him down. Once again, another kind of clutch happening where Team SBL looks like maybe they shouldn't have been winning that out right at the end there when it was just 1v2, but he manages to make it work.
Yeah, just oddly passive in a defensive positions there from in a 1v2 from Coastal Gaming in particular, because like you have somebody trying to retake the top floor. Not a single time during that did Coastal try and like hit the defuse to drag Rice's attention away from that and possibly be susceptible to a flank as he's trying to kill the player on the defuse kit. So just a little bit of an error there, but you know, it's like I mentioned, they just seem to struggle to win the important gunfights, and they did a very good job of like retaking, like not retaking the site, but almost denying the post plant's positioning there from SBO, and also denying them from completely overrunning the site, because SBL didn't really have a lot going for them. Time was getting low. Church Wall was not completely open neither, so they couldn't get a plant down behind Black Box, so they just decided to drop down inside of sight from the Armory hatch.
Yeah, Team SBL almost looked a little too slow there, but I think they were just mainly concerned on getting plant down and getting plant down in a place where they had coverage, and ultimately that's what won it out for them, is they had Nick who could just sit up there pretty safe on Buck, and just had to take the final 2 defenders as a series of 2 1v1s, and it was an easy win for him. And Team SBL already up 1. They already have an attacking round 1 here on Clubhouse. They can get another one early on. They'll be sitting really pretty, but still a good start for them.
Seems like more of the same here from SBL. They want to try and completely clear up the second to the first floor so that they have an easier time setting up around the map. And it doesn't really seem like Coastal are going to be contesting for much of the second floor neither. They're completely just playing down inside the site, this time keeping the Azami alive so that she can actually play in positions such as generators, or even behind the AKs where you can completely reinforce yourself a great position. But For some reason, Rush just walks up the main stairs, and Asian finds a freebie because Rush just has his Solus gadgetry out. Why?
Yeah, not
What?
really sure what Russ was thinking there. You know, you should be scanning around looking for drones. He should have probably seen that that area's already been cleared out, and you should expect, or that area's already been droned out by the attack, so you should expect an attacker to be moving in there pretty quickly. But either way, another good start for a round that could allow Team SBL to easily take the second round. Of course, it is kind of difficult to get into this, even with man advantage, just because of how much of a bunker it is. And we saw that play to Coastal Advantage's, or to Coastal Gaming's advantage last time, where they were able to bunker up and make it at least somewhat close, even though SBL had the advantage going into it. So it's really a matter of just, once again, can SBL recreate what they did last time of getting enough control of site to get the plant down and then have coverage over it and play post plant? Because if they can't do that and it's going to be just a firefight down there, it will go the way still of Team SBL as they win out 2 more fights. Rice going big. Poison does get shut down somewhere in the chaos, but ultimately Team SBL now with a massive lead as they have 2 more bodies up than than Coastal Gaming does, and it's going to be up to these 2 defenders to really aggress and try and make something happen, and they're going to have to move around a lot to find these picks.
This round is just a lot more successful from SBL than compared to the first round, just because not only do they have more bodies up, but they also have a bigger man advantage. Joddles makes it, well, still a 3 or 2 man advantage going against them. But Nick at the end gets a refrag. Again, just a much better and organized round from SBL, who were allowed this time to get the church wall open just because they dealt with the Wamai pretty early on. Actually, the Wamai was positioned inside of Arsenal, so he wasn't really positioned in church to do the impact trick on the church triple wall to completely deny that from being opened up. You just have a lot more to work with as well. And that time also SBL actually went for blue pressure too. So Coastal Gaming just have a lot to focus on. And when you lose that opening pick and you have to play into like and you're already in like a 5v4 or a 5v3 on a basement site where the attack is just everywhere and anywhere all at once, it's very hard to do everything when you don't have all 5 men up to just watch certain zones or every single zone that exists on that site.
Yeah, it was a tough thing, and I think one of the stories, or something that we should highlight now, is kind of the standard split for your defensive half on a defensive-sided map is you win 4, you lose 2. Coastal Gaming have already lost those 2 on their defensive-sided half. If Team SBL win more here, headed into their defensive half, it just looks like there's no way Coastal Gaming can make a comeback with how they're playing right now.
See if they can improve. It's been quite a tough game for Coastal considering like just how good their season has been, and I don't want to keep harping on it because I feel like they should be proud. No matter how this game ends up, I think they should be proud of how much they've achieved in the spring burst, just because they weren't a team that was expected to do very much. You're coming up against possibly the best team in the league alongside Aerial Rise and SSG ACAD. You know, at least be proud that you took a round off of them, because if I was playing against them, I wouldn't take a single round off of them. So not really much to say on that front, but you know.
I'd probably find a way to die in the drone phase as an attacker against these guys.
That's what I'm saying. You're just like me for real.
They would shut me down real fast, and certainly is impressive that Coastal managed to make it all the way here, and part of the reason why I hope we see a bit more life from them in this one. As of right now, it's been a pretty slow round, a pretty standard round here for kind of a master bedroom sort of take, a master bedroom and gym take. They're just getting things like the jacuzzi wall open. We can see Ariel, or Poison, sorry. He's kind of posted up on this watch position here on Repel. Good way to start things off, though, if you're Coastal. Recited finally gets them an opening pick, and that can go their way really easily. It's Nick taking off. Fortunately, most of Nick's utility has already been used up, so it's not the biggest loss for Team SBL, especially since Poison is there to keep things even, trading out onto Engage. That's the Solus to play below, take it out of the equation. There are still 2 C4s, though, left in the pockets of the members of Coastal. Runnings on Valkyrie, and then Joddles has one still on Mira, so they do have some denial play that they can still make work, but they just don't have as much information without the Solus anymore.
Coastal, I mean, not Coastal, sorry. SBL haven't really done much in this game. It's been about a minute. I mean, they've gotten that pick onto the Solus, so you don't really have to deal with that late round utility. And the plant denial down below. You also have Asian, who I think is down below too, maybe trying to work the main stairs, but you're not really inside of the map, or side. It hasn't also been like completely cleared, at least from the construction positioning, and you can also just rotate to cash at any time. Running now down below finds the kill onto Asian, that deletes that main stairs pressure. So yeah, there's really not a lot here from SBL. You could just probably walk into cash, and that's just about it.
Somehow, though, Spiff winning out these gunfights, he's just taking advantage when he's given the opportunity, and Coastal is just peeking sometimes when they shouldn't have. They found a good pick to even things up below, where they found Asian on that Twitch, on the drone. It was a good flank, but now they don't have man advantage, and things are going to be difficult. Spiff, though, in a bad spot. His feet are spotted out, and he is completely bind, thanks to the Dreadnought mine from Fenrir. He gets shut down. It's all going to be down to Running, though, and he is shut down by Poison. How does this keep happening?
Just when you think that Coastal Gaming just have a way in around, like in that case, they did a very good job of denying main stairs pressure. They did a very good job at slowing down the SBL side, mainly just by being aggressive and then forcing SBL to take the time to drone, because every time Coastal get aggressive, SBL try and like drone it just so they can be a little bit safe about like battling their entries. But that time, it wasn't even just about like time getting low or anything for SBL. That's not really a negative at the moment for them, even though that's probably one of their main flaws is time. But for Coastal, it was just getting a little bit too aggressive. There was no reason to like peek the highway player, even just play and not even play in front of the Jacuzzi wall because nobody was there, but just peek the highway player because he wasn't really much of a threat. Nobody from SBL was really much of a threat until like Coastal decided to peek them and give them the gunfights that they probably shouldn't have. And that's the thing about Coastal. They kind of get a little bit too antsy at times, and they tend to just move around a lot, and they do things that they probably shouldn't do.
Out of the past 11 rounds played, Team SBL has only lost one of them. And with the fact that they've now taken, they at least can't lose their attacking half here, as they have that 3-point scoreline. This is a really powerful spot for them. They can continue to push. They have really good momentum right now. Their mental has to be quite good. They can continue to take this and have a really dominant attacking side, and then just have an easy, clean sweep for the defense. But it's kind of all comes down to how much can Coastal match the momentum or match the tempo that SBL are bringing here on attack, because SBL are controlling it. They're doing what you should do as a successful attacking team, which is set the pace for the round, be very aggressive and keep the pressure up, while we're seeing some aggression still. Recited is peeking out this window, and he is just going to go completely unnoticed by Asian. They're going to come pretty close here, potentially come to blows. Asian does find one onto NGH. Recited does shut out Asian, though, so Asian did find a second or a separate person who was ultimately still traded out. And that's once again the soul is taken off. A tough game for Engage, who's currently 0-4, but at least Coastal walk away with that, and it's an even man count.
I mean, I don't think he's baiting. I think he just didn't know you were there. Recited, it was, yeah, like Recited was very quick to refrag and like run behind Asian, and he finds a second. So like, who's baiting now? Bryce is dead, and this whole attack is just kind of like all over the place. They're kind of trying to clear the second floor, but really, you don't really have the time, nor the drone power, nor the manpower to do this. You have time.
They still have some time here, but it certainly is harder now that Recited has given man advantage to Coastal Gaming. It's going to be a little bit difficult here for them to make things work, especially since Capcan's brought for the very first time. Team SBL, if they maybe have spotted Capcan out, then they know to watch for him, but Capcan hasn't been brought at all. It's not an expected operator now, and it could really come in to bite Team SBL in the butt, especially with Run and finding another one, shutting down Poison. It's a 2v4, looking like we're probably going to get our first round here for Coastal Gaming.
It's a very great start from, well, not really a great start because Engage dies. Solus has not really had like much impact because the Solus player just dies off rip, and it's either like Engage or like Recited who has done that, where they like just die very quickly, or Russ even, who has played on, not Recited, but it was mainly Engage and Russ who played the Solus. But last two players alive, Spiff and Nick, trying to clear the rest of this top floor, and really it's the only thing you can do. Attacking site direct is not really an option, just because you don't really have a lot of info. You know that players are still above here, but you don't really have teammates helping you in Garage. Spiff is in Lounge battling his demons, and now he's the last player alive battling out 4 more demons.
Yep, and it's going to be a tough fight. He only has 10 seconds to find all 4 of them, so it's not going to happen. He won't even find one. Jottle shuts him down. And finally, we see that winning streak. SBL shut down. Coastal get their first one, and it's a pretty good-looking round from them.
Yeah, Recited gets a 2K. He gets an immediate trade on a player who gets an entry. SBL just generally having a very hard time dealing with the roam and pinning down these roamers, especially when it came down into like the 3v3 where like they were still trying to roam clear and they just didn't have the information. So Team SBL, despite losing the Solus very early on, disabled a lot of the drones there from SBL quite handedly and deleted a lot of, and not only, and limited a lot of their information gathering tools just by, again, just shooting the drones when they see them, and SBL not really having players just behind those drones to act upon them as soon as they get the info.
We're going to see Coastal Gaming, hopefully, at least I'm hoping, since I want some competition here. Coastal Gaming now kind of know what they have to do. Potentially going to be able to find some more stuff. Engage still going onto that Solus. I'm rooting for you, Engage. I like Engage as a player, and I want to see him be successful here on this Solus. He's been getting shut down every single time. SBL just have his number right now. I know how that feels when you just can't seem to make anything happen. I know he's a good player, and we all just have those days, so don't feel too bad about it, man. Spawn Peak, though, coming out from Engage. He won't find it, but he at least is going to give them a little bit of a scare, as they're going to now have to definitely clear out this section here because they know that someone is over there. Oh.
If it's not Russ who's doing that or Recited, then it's going to be Engage to do it. That's like the second or third time where they've tried to spawn peek from that area, and also that actually on a VOD too for Coastal on this exact map where they tried to go for that exact spawn peek, and SBL, not only did that happen to them at the beginning of this game, so they're wise to it, but they probably, again, just watched the VOD and recognized that that's what they like to do, so let's pre-fire it. And again, it's the Solus! What's going on?
No Solus. I mean, Coastal have been they've managed to win exactly 1 round without the Solus, so maybe they don't need the Solus here, but at least in the last round, it was a pretty quick trade that resulted in it being a 4-4. There's been no trade here. Engage was completely alone over there doing that spawn pick, so when he got shut down, he was fully shut down. Recited, though, does manage to get a pick onto Poison, so that will even things up separately in a separate engagement. Poison did still get that wall open, but he just got shut down when he was peeking that rappel. So at least things are even now. Coastal Gaming can kind of reset a little bit. They are no longer at man deficit. But Rice is going to start pressuring them as he's pushing up onto Garage. He's going to start pushing this pressure into Cash. They have someone, I think, over by the construction wall. So they are getting close to sight, but Recited going for a run out. He's not going to find anything, but he will at least scare some of these defenders who are now, or some of these attackers, sorry, who are now going to have to keep an eye on that open door because they know that one of the defenders is over there.
That run out just gave him a lot of information. He now knows that nobody's over by the jacuzzi side. So now for Coastal, the information is the fact that this is going to be a full east side take that can either be a bane or a good thing or a bad thing, because if they're too focused on this east side, then somebody could just hit the back and completely discombobulate the whole defense. But this is why you have the mirror window, to watch out for the back side. And now they know exactly where SBL are entering from. SBL, time is getting low, and on top of that, they've kind of just stalled out a little bit, just trying to grab information and figuring out how to execute from here, because Coastal aren't really giving them anything at the moment.
SBL are just looking for picks at this point, and like you said, as long as Coastal don't give them anything, SBL doesn't really have an easy way to win this. They need overextend or to over-aggress, and then they can punish that, but they are going to at least put on a bunch of flashes, try and make a push. I like that. It's not going to ultimately work out, as Nick will get shut down by Recited, and they don't really have full map control to make something happen. They're in gym, but they will all get shut down. It's Russ and Recited to make sure that plant doesn't get put down. Ultimately, just no control really had on enough of the map to make something like that work, and another good round, if not even a better looking round from Coastal Gaming. You there, Chaka?
Yeah, my bad. I was gonna say, just as soon as the jacuzzi player died there from SBL, it made going for that retake a lot easier, especially for Recited, who has shown up tenfold in this game. 8-3. Like, this guy was not having, none of the players on Coastal Gaming, it's not to single Recited out, but none of them were having good games at all on Clubhouse much better this time around, especially when it comes to just quite simply hitting your shots and actually winning your gunfights. And he makes the Mozzie P10 Roni, or not the Mozzie P10 Roni because it's also on a Roni, but he makes the P10 Roni just look like an absolute cakewalk, especially with the 1.5 and it only having 15 bullets and more recoil. Also on the PC, although on PC it's not really like that noticeable, it's actually quite easy to control.
Yeah.
And I like the way he's just hitting his shots. It shows how good of a mechanical player he is.
And he's certainly doing some pretty good stuff. We're not going to see him on Mozzie this time, so no Roni coming out here. Instead, we are seeing a Monty being brought by Poison. And this is ultimately a good read by Team SBL, is they're not making something work, so they're going to bring out a new strat and see if they can't potentially win out their attacking half. I like that play, though, coming out from Engage, using that mirror window that Jottle set up on that reinforced CCTV wall. He spots someone, breaks it, and then puts some pressure onto these guys. Spawn Peak doesn't ultimately net him a kill, but it's at least putting a lot of damage onto these guys. Poison already really low on health, and some of these adrenal surges from Finka already used up. Asian, though, good start. Despite the fact that all the damage has really been done onto Team SBL, he does shut down Russ, so they at least have man advantage.
Yeah, a lot of this damage done onto the Monty, especially when you have to face against Nitro cells, because you just got down to, what is that, like, well, now he's on, like, probably, like, 45 HP or close to 50 at the very least.
Yeah.
But you have to face Legion of Mines, you have to face, like Nitro cells, and you're the main person who's going to be at the full brunt of a lot of these at a lot of these explosiveness and especially the legions. You have to get that info. You have to step in and make sure that it's clear for your team to walk right on in. But it seems like they do have this full top floor control. Poison taking the time to shoot the Legion mines as well. So now the main thing is just trying to get this main breach open, but it's already opened up for them. The mirror window was already popped at the beginning. All of their impacts were used too. So they at least have a crowd control into sight, but Poison can just like jump in through the window if it's not being watched here closely from Coastal.
Asian with another pick to continue SBL's man count advantage here. And with Monty up on rafters, peeking into sight, that's exactly his job. He's just making callouts. Asian's going to find a third here with his Capita bolts nonetheless. Nick will find another one. It's going to be a 5v1. Plant's going down. Running is off-site. He's over in the master bedroom gym area. He's going to have to make a complete comeback as Plant has been successful. It's down. Monty has been brought up to half health, thanks to the adrenal surges from Finka, so he's sitting pretty good now. C4 is going to go up, not going to find anything. Asian there with the shutdown. I don't know how many kills that was for Asian, but he had a really great round there, and ultimately it was a very clean and a flawless round for Team SBL.
And that was just, for some reason, just like really, really easy to get control of garage and rafters, and that just came as a direct consequence of that very first kill onto Russ. It was not Russ on top of the garage rafters, who died pretty early, forfeiting that control over to Team SBL. And Poison, who could just like walk in, get that Raptors control, shoot the Legion mines directly beneath them, and then just clear the rest of the way for his team. It's just an easy time entering on that. He gets a lot of info through the Monty as well, and also good zoning utility at the end there from Spiff to delete any rotations or any rotations into sight or any aggression, and allow the rest of SBL to walk in and aggress against Coastal, who are trying to retreat at the very same time that fire goes out. So now Coastal have the hard job of going onto their attack and trying to, in the very first round, attack into the basement site.
That burden of responsibility is now on them, and Team SBL can kind of relax a little bit more, at least, as they no longer have to push objective. They can just kind of play a bit more reactive, and we know that they're quite good at that. Coastal Gaming going to be bringing out the Blitz, though, right away to try and maybe catch Team SBL off guard, push in, give them some aggressiveness. The shield play worked out for Team SBL last round. Maybe Coastal Gaming will find some success here. I'd like to see it. We usually see Blitz maybe being pushed up from dirt, but Blitz is actually going to be coming in. It's going to be running with that buck, opening up the CCTV wall. Blitz making sure Red's clear before he's going to go check out Cash as well, just doing a really quick clear of the second floor here. I like this speed. I like how quickly they're going to take care of all of the rest of the maps, just so they are sure that they have map control. This Blitz just be essentially this really aggressive, big, scary drone, pushing into all of these corners, all of these nooks and crannies, making sure they have everything. I like the push and the coordination with the buck. This is the type of really decisive or very deliberate play that we like to see from attack, and this gives me some hope here for Coastal Gaming.
It's a fast roam clear, like you mentioned, using the blitz to get that fast map control. And also just you have the protection of the shield right in front of you. There's no mute being played here from SBL, so you don't have the worry that your shield just might randomly malfunction on this top floor extension that SBL have. Because usually if teams bring a mute, they try and use it for that second floor. But anyways, they get this full top floor control. Now it's time to take that time to set up and figure out where they want to attack. Do we want to work oil pit, or do we want to work utility room where poison is at the same time that we do a church execute? Well, that's what teams usually do because you just put more pressure onto the defense.
And they're so far not really given, Team SBL's not really giving them anything to take away. And as I say that, I unfortunately cast their turn Spiff, who gets shut down by Engage. That's a good opening pick there, and they're going to continue doing their full top floor clear and maybe some vertical pressure. They still have enough time that they don't have to push into sight yet, and they can focus on just opening these angles, giving them as much opportunity to put pressure onto the defenders as possible and work this man advantage. Like what we've seen from them so far. I like that they got the opening pick, but they've got a lot more to find, and these mirror windows aren't going to make it easier for them to push in.
Yeah, they also don't really have a lot of utility to help them contest for the utility room, and you see SBL just more than comfortable to just rotate between one another, between Arsenal and also the utility room. Coastal stalling at the moment, not really having a good way inside of sight, and Blitz may be just the thing that they need to contest for this AK's position, but you just have so many angles watching you now. They're watching the hash drop, and they're also watching the dirt doorway.
Poison evens things up. Time is really going to start favoring Team SBL here. Nick finds another one. Blitz is going to push in, but he has to make something happen here, and he can't. The kill feeds go in the way of SBL just because time is running out. Runnin and Russ have to make something happen, but they have no time whatsoever. Russ does find one, but his teammate is down, and he can't find any more on the round, and it's a unfortunate round for Coastal, who just, after getting that opening pick, after maybe getting the map control, they just couldn't make it come to anything better or make it build at all.
Yep, execution just fell flat. They didn't have really a good way to intersight, not any space making utility. Like flashes are kind of like it's like they become very useless, especially if you just have a warden who's playing by AKs, and so does Blitz becomes useless because he can't just rush straight at the warden and flash him, because then you just turn on your glasses. But I think Recited could have just tried to flash him, because then Nick has to go into the animation to put on his glasses, leaving him without a gun, and then you just get a free 1v1. So Coastal just not really having enough problem-solving utility in order to directly push onto site and execute effectively enough. And thus, they just kind of like drop in front of the mirror windows, or dropping in front of the Kiba barriers that have one-way angles against you. And you have no way to clear that utility, nor counter it with any utility of your own. No flashes, or not flashes, but no fire, no frag grenades, no Grimbies, nothing to help you make space and get comfortable inside of the site.
Coastal Gaming, I think, trying to give this Blitz another shot. I don't know if we're going to see Blitz be used for the basement and first floor, doing that same sort of roam clear, secure most of the map, or if it's going to be a direct push, because we are up on the second floor. We are gym and bedroom. That jacuzzi wall can be opened up right there, and Blitz could just go straight in and push the envelope, potentially looking to go through this construction wall. He's up there. He's got Engage on Thermite right next to him. If they can get whatever whatever the bandit battery here, wherever it is, if they can get it off, they can push in. But I don't know if they have the utility with them right now to make it happen. They do have the secondary impact, or the impact EMP, so they will get it off. They will get the wall up, and Blitz is going in. They have Lion pushing in, but Asian instantly shuts down Recited. Engage is going to have to hold out. Asian gets two more as the drops from Logi have happened. Engage tries to make something happen, but Asian with another one. It's a quad kill for him. Can all the rest of SBL hold off? Let Asian get this ace here against Russ, who now has to essentially do a 1v5, get the win for his team. Asian antsy for this pick, looking for the round. He doesn't have much HP though, so be careful with those impacts. Don't accidentally down yourself. But a big failure there from Coastal Gaming. The rush not working at all there. Just didn't have the information, caught completely off guard. And yes, that is what you should feel right now. Unhappy. It's not how you wanted it to go, and you're staring on the barrel of Team SBL going up on match point, on map point and match point, I should say. So tough stuff.
Don't tell me he just waits on the roof for a full minute 25. Oh, please don't do that. That's very torturous. Oh no, just
He's taking a
yeah.
nap.
I mean, the thing about that rush is that there's really not a lot of utility here from SBL to stop that. They just again to just get that entry engagement over by Logi. They tried to also time that with a push in construction that wasn't really well timed, that happened like 5 seconds later, and they're not able to really pinch out the player in Logi. Also, great support against that initial rush and for the Logi player by the bedroom doorway too. So Team SBL, what they've been doing on Chalet was doing a great job at like denying those quick entry engagement rushes that other teams, Bros Without Hoes, Wanted Goons, had big issues with. SBL are not like that. They know exactly what you're going to do, and once you try and go for those fast executes, once you try to take them head on, they're more than well equipped to meet you that way.
Russ will get one, but these defenders are just really antsy. He will get a second one. Time's running out. He's going to be put down really low. Asian does get the ace. Nice of his teammates to do a little bit of baiting there, pull him out, and allow him to get the pick. Asian deserves it. He had a phenomenal game, but that was a foregone conclusion that round. Didn't really look like Coastal Gaming had a chance of winning it, and they definitely did not. Team SBL picking it up. Match point. Going to be a tough fight here for Coastal Gaming.
Yeah. Attack 2 on Clubhouse, and you know, we talked about Chalet just like quite a little bit being like defender sided at SI 2024. If you think Chalet, a map that's usually attacker sided, was defender sided at 2020 in SI 24, think about what Clubhouse was.
Yeah.
Clubhouse was among the most defender sided maps alongside, I'm gonna take a guess and say like either Consulate or like think it was, I can't remember, but regardless, Clubhouse was pretty much up there, and there's a good reason why. It's a great map for defenders. You can roam, you can extend, and you have a lot of tools at your disposal to deny like the initial entries and deny any way for the attack to execute properly. You can deny the CCTV wall from being opened at least directly into sight with things like a Tuberon and Kairi, which are banned in this round. And if you have the firepower to match the attackers like SBL do, then it kind of makes it easier, especially when you have things like the Miras, like the Fenrirs, like the Azamis, to not only give you information, but also aid you in creating new angles for yourself.
Let's see if Spiff manages to find something. He's kind of tucked in this corner here by the main door for Garage. He can either spawn peek or just wait in there. So he waits and catches Recited on the Monty. That would be huge. Not blinging the Blitz this time, as it really wasn't working out either of the other two times, so opting for the safer shield option of Monty. I think could potentially work, but the shield play from Coastal Gaming just hasn't been supported enough to really find much success. Team SBL has just been too aggressive and has always found a way to get them behind the shield and shut them out. But we'll see. Spiff has retreated up to Raptors. He's going to be pretty hard to dislocate from here. All these windows covered by Mozzie pests. Just a difficult thing for Coastal Gaming to attack here, especially if they're not going to be willing to make some aggressive little play here and just find the opening. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, let's see how they deal with the Raptors' position. They did the hard work in getting the plat wall open. Not that there's much stopping them from doing that anyways. No Mute, no Bandit, nothing Kaid, Tuberal to waste their time. They just get this wall open for free, but they have to deal with the Raptors' position if they're going to get this platform wall open. Have to deal with these Kiba barriers. Monty's blocked in, and now the aggression comes in from Raptors. Spiff is immediately dealt with. Asian finds 2 kills in a bottom garage and onto one of the initial entry players. Everything is falling apart from Coastal Gaming at match point 6-2 in favor of SBL, and now it's a 1v3, and Engage is just teasing them with a knife fight.
Oh but God, they're accepting to it.
No.
They're accepting it.
Somebody's gonna break this.
I want to see the knife fight. I'm gonna play-by-play cast my mind out of a knife fight. This will be a crazy way for. Imagine if Coastal Gaming win the knife fight, they win the round, and then they go on to do some sort of comeback. That'd be crazy. But yeah, Asian not really looking to do it. A little bit of, I would call that rude. You know, rules of knife fight. But Asian just wants to get it over with. He had a phenomenal game, and yeah, I mean, at no point did it look like Coastal Gaming ever had a shot of winning this map. You know, they managed to get 2 rounds, which is double what they got in the first map, but That only shows you just how much Team SBL was really in control for this entire series.
It's a tough one. You know what? Should be proud of your Coastal Gaming. I said this at the beginning of the matchup of Clubhouse, but you should be proud that you got here in the first place because, like, I didn't really think much of them. Not that I really had any thoughts about them at all, negative nor positive, just very neutral on them as a team because I haven't seen them play whatsoever. But the surprises that they gave the season, especially that Wanted Goons game, is something that's going to stick with me for quite a little bit because that game was very surprising to me. And I think that even though they lost this game pretty dominantly in favor of SBL, it's still like semifinals in your first T3 tournament as a team where a lot of people didn't really know much about you. It's a great feat and you should be proud of that. Even though I know they wanted more. I knew they did.
100%, you know, they didn't win it out today, but they got here. They put up a really good fight throughout the tournament, but SBL was just the better team. SBL's going on now to the finals. They managed to get that spot secured for them. Unfortunately, we didn't have a more competitive game, but like I said, it's just about who plays better. And today, SBL had some really good stuff. They looked coordinated. All of their individual players were really just tuned in, and we saw some really good plays from Spiff had some really excellent ones. Asian, of course, being absolutely dominant. We got to see some exciting plays from them as those guys really popped off. And ultimately, it's just how it goes. Sometimes you just don't perform as well as you want, but still you should be proud if you are Coastal Gaming, and you should be very proud of your SBL because now they're going to the finals.
Yeah, and the thing is that SBL just have like T2 and also players that played at a T1 level, whereas Coastal Gaming just don't have that. I think that they have the potential to, at least at a mid T2 level, I believe. Like maybe in the future we'll see them in Element 3 because you just never know. They could possibly just make a run through the qualifiers and it'll just be excellent for them. But yeah, very good game here from SBL, who didn't really let a lot of things slip, especially like on like their attacks where they just had like really good executes that Coastal Gaming just could not quite deal with.
Well, I think that's it for us tonight. We don't have any more games here on this stream. The other game may still be going on in the main XGS stream, so be sure to go check that out. SBL looking really good for the final, so I'm excited to see who ultimately wins it out there. But I had a great night. I hope you did too. And I don't have anything else to say. Do you, Chaka?
No, I think that'll be it for us. There is not going to be an interview with Poison or any of the SBL players. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at either 5 or 6 p.m. EST. That will be announced on Twitter to see not only who's going to be in the Grand Finals, but also who's going to win the Grand Finals for the XGS Spring Burst. Bye.